Just got this little New Year's card from Barack and Michelle, NBD. We're just kind of like BFFs now, you know? Shook his hand once. It was pretty cool. Hi, I'm Jackson Bird, and I actually really like New Year's. New Year's Eve, it's alright, but New Year's, the couple of days surrounding the new year coming upon us. Ooh, that sounded dirty. I just think that the new year is an awesome time to take stock of your life, reflect on where you're headed, set some goals, maybe even do some spring cleaning style tidying up. Now, I know that New Year's resolutions can often get a bad rap, but I actually really like New Year's resolutions, and some of the best things in my life have come as a result of New Year's resolutions. And because I'm human, I've also had some pretty epic failures. Like, for example, and I forgot about this, but apparently last January, I set a goal to have 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2017. Yeah, right. I didn't even hit my amended goal of 30,000. I suck at gaining subscribers. Thank you, by the way, to all of you who are here. You are wonderful. Why do I always start filming when the sun is going down? I know the light is gonna change throughout this whole video. I make bad life decisions. Speaking of being a failure, I have also completely failed at the same running goal that I've had for myself for the past 3 or so years. I keep resolving to run a 10K race and still haven't. Every year, I get so out of shape that I'm just in this constant cycle of getting back up to running even a 5K. But I actually can only even run a 5K because about 6 years ago, I set a resolution to run more, and I actually stuck to it. And the reason that I was able to stick to it that time was because I framed the resolution as a weekly habit. I added hitting the campus track into my class schedule, and I consistently went running 3 times a week until I had built up my endurance enough to be able to run a couple miles straight. And since I passed that hurdle, even when I'm a bit out of shape, I can still do at least that. And that is the way that I have had success with New Year's resolutions, is by making them habits. I don't just set a vague goal, I work it into my regular schedule. Or when I do just make a vague goal, I usually don't achieve it. So, for example, 8 years ago, I resolved to floss every day. And not only have I stuck to that, it turns out that was such a good thing to do. I lost my dental insurance, so I don't go to the dentist nearly enough. But flossing has helped keep my teeth healthy, so I rarely have any issues. In fact, when I can get to the dentist, they're always so impressed by how clean my teeth are. So thank you, past me. Another resolution that has completely changed the way I operate was in 2015, when I resolved that anytime I found myself aimlessly scrolling internet feeds, I would stop and either read a book or watch a documentary. That year, I read 34 books and watched 103 documentaries. Maybe went a little overboard, but it worked. And after many years of struggling to complete books, I am now a book reading machine. I read 56 books in 2017. And one of the most exciting things to come from New Year's reflecting wasn't exactly a resolution, but at the start of 2014, I was taking some time to reflect on my goals for my YouTube channel and brainstorm some different video ideas. And it was in that brainstorm that I came up with the idea for Will It Waffle. So we have New Year's resolutions to thank for the existence of Will It Waffle. Because had I not been pushing myself to brainstorm new content, I would not have come up with the idea. There's a great John Green quote that I rediscovered this week that I think really speaks to that. One time he said, "Creativity is not a talent. It's a way of operating." Sure, sometimes inspiration will strike like lightning, but especially in this day and age of constant creation, you have to be industrious, organized, consistent. You have to push yourself even when you think your creativity or motivation has run dry. And knowing how you work best, what systems are most effective for you, and knowing which habits will have the biggest impact on your life, that's how you can make sustained change towards your goals. So this year, I took a leaf out of Io Tillett Wright's book, and I made a list of things that I want to do less of in 2018 and some things that I want to do more of. And then I went through each of those and thought about what habits I should implement to achieve each of those things. And after that, because I kind of fell into bullet journaling this year, I made myself a habit tracker, and I get to give myself a little dot every day that I do the thing. So, for example, in 2018, I want to be less jealous, which I think is a pretty good goal for most creators. And one way that I'm making this a habit is by writing down one thing that I'm grateful for every day. Because I've found that practicing gratitude helps keep me humble, thoughtful, and optimistic. I also would like to eat less sugar in 2018 because I have a massive sweet tooth. So I get to add a little dot to my habit tracker for every day that I have less than one main sugary item. Another focus of mine for 2018 is more writing. So I scheduled in some casual writing to my morning routine, which is something I've a little bit already been doing for a while. And I'm also adding a 2-hour block every week dedicated to writing my novel. And that might not sound like very much, but right now I'm not even doing that. And this is a really important thing to keep in mind about setting habits. If you make too many ambitious changes all at once, you are never gonna stick to it. For some of us, it is so much fun to organize it all and color code our bullet journals and bookmark 15 articles about productivity hacks. But sticking to those habits, that is the real challenge. You really have to think about what's sustainable for you. What's something that you can commit to sticking to, but will also have a real impact in your life. And maybe one of those habits will work out so well that you go above and beyond, like I did when I watched 103 documentaries in 2015. Hopefully this year I'll end up that motivated with writing or exercise, or maybe eating less sugar. Kinda doubt that one will work out so well though. And if you don't, it's alright. Even just taking the time to reflect on where I'm at and where I want to go helps me feel a little bit more clarity and motivation in my life, so hopefully it does for you too. And that is why I love New Year's, but none of this has to happen just at New Year's. Maybe the start of the school year in the fall is when you like to do your goal setting, or like during actual spring cleaning season. Or if you don't ever set aside time to take stock of your life and recalibrate, I suggest you give it a try. And I hope some of my tips here might help you out. I would love to hear any other tips that you have for making or keeping new habits down below in the comments. You can hear more about how my habits are going by following me on social media at JackIsNotABird, especially probably on Twitter, Instagram, and YouNow. And if you want to help me keep creating this year, you can also consider supporting me on Patreon. And finally, if you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up, share it with some people you think it'll resonate with, and make sure to subscribe so you get new videos every Wednesday. Alright, that is it from me. I wish all of you a happy, healthy, productive, badass 2018. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.